Bridgerton, Season 4, Episode 3, The Field Next to the Other Road. Recap and review. Episode 3 of Bridgerton Season 4 begins with Sophie and Benedict making their way to London. They bicker over the distance and the weather. She is proven right when it rains, and he decides to stop by his cottage, which is basically an estate. The class difference is clear as he does to have a key, and she breaks into the cottage. He has no idea how to make a fire, and she instantly builds one. He hides his injury, but ends up getting a fever from the infection. She nurses him, and in his delirium, he asks her to kiss him, believing she is the lady from the masquerade. Unfortunately, he does realize that he is right. Back in London, Lady Whistledown writes about the Maids' War. Araminta has poached multiple skilled staff members from other households to replace Sophie. This has led to everyone fighting and poaching staff members to fill the void. Even Varley gets an offer, and she turns it down in hopes of Portia Featherington raising her wages. Portia claims she does to have the money, and instead gifts Varley her old dresses. Charlotte finds this gossip about the staff boring and dismisses Danbury's ethical concerns. The Queen also does notice that Danbury is simply indulging her whims and fancies. Benedict has advised Violet to go easy on Eloise, but Mama Bridgerton has other plans. If Eloise wants to be courted, she is to chaperone Hyacinth etiquette lessons. Eloise is further annoyed during the lessons when she sees how spinsters are treated. The cottage caretakers, the Crabtrees, arrive the next day, and Benedict insists that they treat Sophie as a guest. He convinces her to wear old Bridgerton dresses, and she hides her necklace. The caretakers refuse to let Benedict leave till he is fully healed, and he, in turn, insists that Sophie enjoy the countryside instead of working. It cuts to a fidgety Sophie pulling out weeds in the garden instead of relaxing. She runs into him at the library and is impressed by his artwork. He lets it drop that he will find work for her and the other maid, Hazel, and she is touched. She tries to run off with a French book, and he is surprised that she knows the language. He wants to know more about her, and she deflects by teaching him the right French pronunciation. They almost kiss when Mr. Crabtree interrupts. That night, Francesca and John have sex. She is worried that she is doing something wrong as they don't have a kid yet. He wonders if her reaching the pinnacle will help with the conception. During her next outing with Colin and Penn, she observes that they constantly desire each other. She asks Penn about the pinnacle and looks confused when she is told that Penn often experiences it during sex. Nearby, Danbury rants to Alice about Charlotte clinging to her instead of relying on the other ladies in waiting. Alice offhandedly comments that Charlotte is probably not interested in them, as no one can replace Danbury. Back at the cottage, Sophie washes the dishes. Mrs. Crabtree is amused that she can sit still and tells her to accept Benedict's kindness. Sophie lets it slip that she is swayed by his charm, and Crabtree reminds her not to forget her place. At a garden party, Araminta shows up, and all the ladies are annoyed that she started the Maids' War. Marcus flirts with Violet, and she gets nervous. To make matters worse, Francesca asks her about the pinnacle. Violet gets embarrassed and does her best to explain the magical feeling, but it does totally clear Francesca's confusion. As for our main couple, Benedict convinces Sophie to fly a kite with him as he is bored. She teases him as he initially struggles, and they end up bantering and goofing around. Mrs. Crabtree watches and is worried that no one will hire Sophie if her reputation is ruined. Unbeknownst to the caretaker, Sophie later happens upon a naked Benedict swimming. He rage baits her, claiming she is following him. She accidentally confesses that she can stop watching him. They kiss before she gets all awkward and formal. Mrs. Crabtree observes that something has happened and warns Benedict of the power imbalance between him and Sophie. She advises him to dedicate himself to something else, like the Silver Lady. Meanwhile, Varley notices Portia buying new clothes and decides to stand up for herself. Portia calls her bluff and looks upset as Varley leaves. As for Lady Danbury, aware that Charlotte loves a challenge, she bets that she can find an exciting lady-in-waiting. Predictably, Charlotte agrees to the challenge. Following his conversation with Crabtree, Benedict declares that it is time to leave. He apologizes to Sophie for the kiss and claims that he regrets it. This seems to hurt her. Next, a desperate Francesca goes to Penn and asks her outright what a pinnacle is. Penn is more accurate in describing an orgasm, but ends up comparing it to warm biscuits. Right then, Eloise joins them, and they laugh off the conversation instead of explaining what they are talking about. Eloise feels left out. It cuts to Violet approaching Marcus and rambling about how she wants him but is nervous and scared. He promises to wait as long as she wants, and they kiss. At the end of the episode, Sophie changes back into her maid's dress and hides her necklace under her collar.